nature of the one? Look at this is a very curious question. Look here. What, after all, is the nature of the one? Well, look here. If it has a nature, I mean, if you have a dog, if you have chalk, if you have whatever it is, you're different than the thing which you have. So therefore, that one better not have a nature, otherwise you got a two, you don't have a one. Huh. Well then.
What's the Greek word for nature?
Pardon?
What's the Greek word for nature?
Pardon?
When he says, what after all the nature of one, what is the Greek word for the nature?
Actually, it's not in there. The translator put it in. Yeah, that's a different translation. That's several translations, but it's not. It should be physis, right? It should be physis, but it's not there. And just to answer your question, the Loeb has it. The Rouse is the one I was quoting a moment ago. Shari has but if some contradiction is always seen coincidentally with it, the one, so that it is no more appears to be one than the opposite, there would forthwith be need of something to judge between them. It would compel the soul to be at a loss and to inquire by arousing thought, nous, in itself, and to ask, whatever then is the one as such? Right? Mm-hmm. Now, if we want a pure one, remember, it can't be contrasted with anything else in order to understand it, because then you're really contrasting it with something else. You're not talking about the one itself, but how it can be contrasted with something else. So we can't do that. So we really just have to say what it is we can talk about when we talk about the one itself. All right. What is it as such? Well, in philosophy, the difference between philosophy and religion, of course, is that book religions often have a cosmology. Right? A cosmology to explain how the universe came into being. And therefore you need a God or some force to bring it into being. And that's a creative activity of a deity. Now, what we're doing is not a cosmology, we're doing a metaphysical cosmology. Right? We're saying, now look here, what must be such that there could be something rather than nothing? We're asking a curious question. We're saying, look here, independent of whether this entire universe perishes or not, we can still ask the question of what kinds of conditions what kinds of conditions must there be in place to have not the universe, but this being itself, to have reality. This another word for this, by the way, is the nature of ultimate reality. Sometimes written as just being. So what conditions must there be to have being, capital B, or this thing we have just labored to describe? So look here. Let's see if we can do something with this now. Take this off. Let's combine two things here, a cosmology and a metaphysics. Right? Metaphysics. Right? The one, or the good, has such a perfection that it can be said to figuratively to overflow. Let me use another word for overflow. All right? The one of the good is of such a nature that its influence, like, if you can think of it this way, a candle is so interesting, it's a source of light. What is the brilliance around the candle? That's the light. That brilliance. Now the one, when it overflows, its influence. So it is not sterile. Its influence, its power, its influence. It's nothing other than this experience. That's what this is. Now, we're going to go into cosmology. The other name for this, remember, is the idea of the good. This is said to be the source of the sun in our universe. And it's also the source of light. We can actually now talk about it this way. The offspring of the good is the idea of the good, this divine radiance, which in turn it gives birth to the sun and to light. As the sun itself gives birth to light on a lesser plane. Now that's metaphysics. Now if we give a name to this, if we personify this brilliance, right, this ultimate reality, and call it Zeus, or the Demiurgos, then this must also be, in principle, the source of all intelligence. Remember our diagram? Intelligence, power, and being. Therefore, this is the archetype. This is the realm of the intelligibles as experienced simultaneously in such a condition. Let me do that again. What